Cabbage and noodles is a really simple, 7-ingredient recipe that makes for a comforting meal on its own and works equally well as a side dish. It consists of chewy egg noodles tossed with caramelized cabbage and onions, lots of freshly ground black pepper, and a little bit of butter. In Poland, this combo is known as haluski, while in Hungary, it's called kaposztás tészta. This minimal, yet surprisingly delicious, dish is typically vegetarian and served during Lent. However, sometimes bacon or kielbasa are added. The key to giving this dish its undeniably tasty flavor is caramelizing the cabbage and onions really well before tossing them with the noodles, and recipe developer Alexandra Schitzman of plant-based blog The New Baguette accomplishes just that with this recipe. Jurassic World Evolution is receiving a sequel with Jurassic World Evolution 2, and it looks like the dinosaurs are out of the cages. Revealed at the Summer Game Fest livestream, the game is expected to release sometime in 2021. Browned cabbage and onions take on a savory, sweet, and slightly smoky flavor that gives these egg noodles so much personality. One thing's for sure. Everyone will be begging for second and third helpings. Gather your ingredients for cabbage and noodles to begin. Gather your egg noodles, cabbage, onion, olive oil, salt, pepper, and butter. This recipe calls for a standard green cabbage, but you can also use Savoy cabbage for more contrast in texture. Black pepper is also really important here. It adds heat, spice, and fragrance, and ties the entire dish together. It's important to use fresh, coarsely ground black pepper for the most delicious cabbage and noodles, as opposed to the often flavorless pre-ground stuff you get in a little box at the supermarket. Prepare the vegetables. Chop up the cabbage and onion. Despite all of Jeff Goldblum's warnings about the dangers of dinosaurs and genetics, they continue to fall on deaf ears. We were given a brief teaser of what kind of park players will be running in Jurassic World Evolution 2, and it looks a lot more freeing than the first game. Cut both into chunky slices about 1/3 inch thick. The goal is for these to be similar in width to the egg noodles. Originally, many dinosaurs were placed into pens and cages, with players having to manage how to create proper holds around these creatures. Now, the wild dinosaurs are freely stomping around the environment, making it feel more like a wildlife safari, except the large lions are replaced with an 8-ton Tyrannosaurus. By making the land a bit more freeing, it looks like players will be handling how to properly care for the dinosaurs and make sure their needs are met in the wild. It may seem like a big pile of vegetables at first, but both the cabbage and onions will shrink a lot when they cook. There are 2 steps involved in caramelizing these vegetables. It might also mean having to deal with a lot more dangers than the ones on land. First, you cook them covered with a lid for about 5 minutes. We also briefly saw a Mosasaurus, the large water dinosaur from Jurassic World, which means players will deal with aquatic dinosaurs as well. With an expected release date of 2021, we're on the edge of our seat, ready to lead the research team working on the island and to hear Jeff Goldblum's iconic narration throughout the experience. This steams the vegetables, draws out their moisture, and starts to soften them. Then, continue to cook them uncovered for 12 to 15 minutes, allowing them to caramelize. Cook the noodles and toss them with the vegetables while the vegetables cook. Fill a large pot of water for cooking the noodles. Be sure to salt the cooking water generously, as it is your only chance to season the noodles themselves. Pro tip: pasta cooking water should be as salty as the ocean. Finally, drain the noodles and put them back in the pot. Add the vegetables, along with the butter, and stir to combine. At this point, be sure to taste the dish and add more salt or pepper if needed. Serve on its own or as a side.